We recently had a patient that came in with some fairly broken down front teeth, very worn down and very stained, and she wanted to actually improve the look of her smile, rebuild the teeth, make them whiter. We discussed with the patient the options that were available to her. First and foremost was definitely do some whitening, whether that's laser whitening or at home whitening. The results at least bring down the colour of her teeth. The teeth were really yellow from smoking and red wine and a number of other things, so the first step was definitely to do the whitening. From there we had a number of choices. We could crown those front teeth and really trim down a lot of tooth structure. We felt that was pretty invasive and there were some better options for that, and the other two options were to build the teeth back up in a resin-based filling material, or what we eventually chose was veneers, which is a light covering over the outside of the tooth, a bit like a false fingernail that sits over the outside tooth to improve the aesthetics of those teeth. The biggest problem now was to also figure out how we were going to build those teeth up. We were going to make them longer, wider, or just to make them more natural. And because there was so much wear from the chewing surface of those teeth, we actually decided to build them up a little bit as well, or build them down a little bit to make them the right length and to get the uniform shape through there. The procedure itself was very simple. First step was to do the whitening. We took some moulds for teeth. We made a couple of tiny trays. We sent those trays home with the patient, and we got her to wear the whitening trays with the whitening gel in it for 2 30-minute sessions a day for 2 weeks. And after a further 2 weeks after that, we got her back to review the colour, and the colour was much lighter. The next stage from there was to actually do the veneers, and this was a very easy process. We removed all the old filling material from the patient's tooth. We then very lightly prepared those teeth. We took about 0.7 of a millimetre off the outside surface of those teeth. And some people we don't need to take any tooth structure off at all, but in this case it was much better to get a nice even surface around the outside of a tooth, a little tiny bit off the top, so that we could get some very good margins and hide the margins around the corners of the teeth so you couldn't see the join line between the veneer and the tooth. From there we then sent the patient away. She didn't even need to have the temporary veneers put on those teeth. She was quite happy with those. We sent her away while those veneers were being made. We then brought it back and then we glued each of those veneers in place, and that's the final product you get to see. The outcome from this was that the patient was extremely happy. In fact, she actually shed a tear when she first saw the veneers on her teeth afterwards. After we put them on, we gave her a mirror. She could not believe it was still her. We got rid of the yellowness, we got some nice uniformity back in her teeth, and it's something she'd been wanting to achieve with her teeth for many years, and it was the time to do it. And once again, she was very happy, as were we, with their final result. So for anyone who's in the same sort of circumstance with broken down teeth, uneven teeth, even some gaps between the teeth, old veneers are on teeth, or teeth that are just simply chipped and worn away and full of fillings, certainly this is a great option for those sort of people, is to be able to whiten the teeth and then do a very simple procedure with veneers, should the person be suitable, to build those teeth up, to make them look uniform again and make them look more like your own teeth rather than chopping all that really good tooth structure down. Sometimes other options are also to do some orthodontics, to tidy the teeth up and put them in the right position first before we go down with veneers. But certainly a lot of people, simple whitening of your teeth and then followed up by veneers is a very good solution to it very quickly and efficiently, effectively, and also very conservatively to build those teeth up to give you back that beautiful smile that you deserve.